So I was rewatching Jurassic Park earlier today, and I totally forgot there's a scene in there where Ellie is essentially just digging through just piles of Triceratops shit. I'm not even making that up. It's an actual scene. I don't know why I had forgotten that. I think as a kid maybe I blocked it out because it was like too intense. And then it's funny because I also did not remember Samuel L. Jackson being in this film. Like, my mind is absolutely blown, and I absolutely hate him in this movie. Not Samuel L. Jackson, I'm a huge fan of his. He's one of my favorite actors, but just the fact that they made him an IT guy in this movie, like, what the heck? This dude is the kind of guy that is always playing like the hero of the movie that murders everybody in an entire room. This dude is literally Nick Fury. I don't know why he's playing the IT guy in this movie. But anyways, all jokes aside, that's what happens when you rewatch old movies from the 90s. I remember being really into Jurassic Park. Clearly I'm still into Jurassic Park as an adult, but just rewatching those type of scenes, I think they kind of like take on a different tone when you're an adult. But anyways, all jokes aside, in today's video, I actually wanted to talk about some more knockoff action figures from Aliexpress. I do this from like time to time. I want to say like every 3 weeks to a month. I'll hop on Aliexpress. I'll check if there's any cool knockoff action figures. And then if I do find anything cool, I usually share it with you guys. I love putting these type of videos together. Usually I'm making, some reviews here and there, but for the most part, it's like news videos where there's something new being announced or something like that. But I genuinely enjoy these kind of like offbeat videos where we take on something a little bit more different and just have like a different style or a different format. So without further ado, let's get straight into it. And I wanted to just mention something that isn't technically a custom Marvel Legend, or I should say a knockoff Marvel Legends action figure. It's technically a knockoff DC Multiverse, or I guess I should say a knockoff McFarlane accessory pack. So I did run across this ammunitions pack from McFarlane, and obviously I'm assuming it's not officially licensed. They probably just got the molds and then reproduce them themselves, but you're looking at $10 for the longest time. I remember these being sold on eBay from like people that had bought multiples, and they were marking these up. I think they were as high as like $50 to $60. Obviously, with a lot of the overseas sellers reproducing these, the market has kind of made it crash a little bit. But yeah, I just wanted to throw it out there. I know it's not technically Marvel Legends, but you can kind of put these into some displays or use them for some Marvel Legends action figures. They usually veer closer to like the 1/10 to 1/7 scale, but a lot of these weapons do kind of cross over a little bit. Just wanted to throw it out there, $10. If you guys are interested, these are available right now. And then I also ran across these 3 different figures from, I believe it's Thor Love and Thunder, if I'm not mistaken. Maybe one of these is from a different film, but you're essentially getting Jane Foster in her outfit. And then both different versions of Thor. I have to say, I actually really did enjoy all 3 of these figures. I do have a couple of the Thors, but this is a really good, interesting buy-in if you're looking to just kind of try your hand at some of these knockoff figures. Usually most people that are buying knockoffs on AliExpress, you have 2 reasons for doing that. It's either an action figure or a collectible that is so sought after that it's so expensive to purchase, or you're just looking for custom fodder, and this might fall into the latter. I think these were pretty readily available if I'm not mistaken. Like the Thor, for example, I think I ended up picking it up for like about $8, and I think if you look them up online, they're probably closer to original retail price. But if you're looking to save a few extra bucks, $5 to $6 is really not a bad price point. As I said, worst case scenario, you can use some of these for some custom fodder. And it's one of those films, honestly, that I think gets a lot of unwarranted hate. It's not like the most perfect MCU film, but it's still a good solid entry, and these are just some great action figures regardless of how bad the source material may be to a lot of people. The collectibles as a whole, they were just really well done, and you're getting a lot of these with like some of the newer pinless technology as well. And then I also ran into this Maestro Hulk Marvel Legends action figure, and it's worth mentioning that I believe they have almost all of the different versions for this particular body mold. They even have like the Red Hulk, they have the 80 years Hulk, so on and so forth. I think they even had some with some custom head sculpts that had never been released by Hasbro. So it's really interesting to see this type of stuff. I've often read different theories online about Aliexpress actually having like prototypes of certain head sculpts. Like these were head sculpts that maybe didn't reach full production, or Hasbro decided to scrap them before they actually went into production and maybe went with a different head sculpt. So it's really interesting to see that. But yeah, you can now get the Maestro Marvel Legends Hulk. I haven't actually checked this particular version of Hulk, so I can't really tell you if this is like an amazing deal, but it's definitely much cheaper than anything that you can find on eBay. This particular figure is going for about like $9. The original one is probably, I'm gonna assume it's going for a little bit over retail, like $40 to $50. It's one of the best story arcs. If you guys haven't read that little comic book run where Maestro Hulk was just wrecking everybody, not to mention Maestro Hulk was actually, if I'm not mistaken, done by Toy Biz, which was also a very, very highly sought after version of Hulk. If you guys are interested in this figure, like I said, it's just an absolutely banger deal at under $10. I also ran across this live action X-Men Mystique action figure. Really cool. It definitely brought me back to when I first like legitimately started collecting Marvel Legends action figures. This one was also one that we ran across a few times on the clearance aisle. I think it was about this price point. However, as years have gone by, I have noticed a lot of the live action film X-Men action figures have gone up quite a bit, whether it's, you know, eBay or Amazon. I haven't checked this one. I'm going to assume that it also has garnered quite a bit of value, but if you're interested in, as I said, custom fodder or just picking up another action figure to, you know, continue fleshing out on your display, this is a great opportunity. You're looking at about $7 to $8. I will mention I would probably just be very cautious when picking up a lot of these figures, because I do believe that Hasbro is continuously working on giving us new live action figures, especially with Doomsday, the new Avengers Doomsday film right around the corner. We are going to get new X-Men characters. So if you're really patient, you can probably get a live action Mystique action figure. But if you're looking for the old Fox Universe figures, this is, you know, something really cool to add to your display and to continue fleshing out on that entire universe. I also ran across the 50th anniversary 2-pack Wolverine and Psylock release. If you're looking at the regular 2-pack, it's about like $32, and then they actually give you the option to buy these action figures separately. Psylocke is roughly about like $18, $18 to $19, and then Wolverine is about $12 to $13 with free shipping. Again, if you guys are interested in just some really cool custom, you know, base body molds, I think Wolverine is a great example of that. Same thing with Psylocke. Although I will say I genuinely enjoyed this version of Psylocke. There was a lot of intricacy to the body mold. It came with a decent array of accessories, whereas in Wolverine, let's be brutally honest, it feels like we get like 3 to 4 different Wolverine action figures on a yearly basis. I know they're not always technically like the mainline Wolverine, but sometimes we get like variations from different universes or, you know, things of that nature, but we always just get a ton of different Wolverine action figures. So this may be a perfect opportunity for you. If you don't want the entire 2-pack, you don't want, you know, Wolverine in there, you can always purchase Psylocke by herself for roughly under $20, which really isn't that bad. Last time I checked, and I could be wrong on this because I haven't checked recently, but last time I checked, I think this 2-pack was, you know, somewhat difficult to purchase in person or online. It was a little bit difficult to find for regular retail. So this is definitely a good option for you if you're a big giant X-Men fan and just want like 2 variations on 2 of the most popular characters in the franchise. And then they also have Rage, which is another one of those action figures that I think is kind of a little bit obscure. He was a throw-in into that Abomination Build-A-Figure wave. I believe it was based on the video game for the most part. This was one of those comic book characters that really didn't make sense in the wave, but they kind of threw it in there. As I said before, not as well known, and I think it's pretty easy to find now. Like whether you're looking for him on eBay or Amazon, you're looking to pay about like regular retail, but you're still saving quite a bit of lettuce, quite a bit of change here. It's roughly about like $4 to $5. I've seen it dip a little bit even during certain time frames. I'm not sure if it's you know, Aliexpress itself offering more discounts or the seller just looking to get rid of, you know, a mass amount of these figures. But again, if you guys are interested in a somewhat obscure character, somebody just to kind of fill in the display, or if you're just a huge fan of the character, you can now pick this one up for about $5. And then lastly, I think I might have already mentioned this in a previous video, but I still decided to throw it out there. You're looking at the Spider-Man Marvel Legends from the video game PlayStation 4 universe. I believe this is like 2.0 version. It comes with all the bells and whistles, great articulation, pinless technology all around, a great amount of accessories, and you're only paying about $15. I think originally with taxes and everything, you were paying about like $40 for this figure. It was insane. People were losing their minds. I think it might have dropped a little bit in price as time went by. I think I might have seen it at like $27 on sale somewhere at one point or another, but this is a really good solid action figure if you guys are interested in just not paying those huge markups that Hasbro was deciding to launch at the time for absolutely no reason. This is a great opportunity. I think for the most part, you were just getting like a really well articulated Spider-Man action figure, but you were getting a bunch of accessories that I believe, if I'm not mistaken, we had already received with previous Spider-Man Marvel Legends action figures. It was one of those releases that I think Hasbro got a ton of hate for. The idea or the concept was pretty good, but I felt like the execution just wasn't there. Like, throw as much as you possibly can in there and then raise the price a little bit, which I'm okay with, as long as the price point, or I should say there's enough value to that price point, and I don't feel like there was that with this particular figure. Now you can stick it to Hasbro if you want, purchase this, you know, third-party knockoff from Aliexpress if you guys are interested. As I said, it's probably going for like $60 to $70 right now, whether it's eBay or Amazon. So this is probably a really good alternative if you don't want to pay that huge markup. And I think the only real issues that you usually get with these knockoff figures, if they are knockoffs, you can usually just point at like paint apps or some of the joints being a little bit loose and things of that nature. I don't think it's ever like something outrageous where you're getting just a big giant hunk of plastic or something crazy like that. Like, for the most part, it's just minor little QC issues that you can kind of work around for that particular price point. But overall, there you guys have it. I'm not going to ramble. I'm not going to go too deep into it. I just wanted to showcase, per usual, just some really cool knockoff action figures that I found on AliExpress. If you guys are interested, you guys should definitely look them up. I usually try to post the links in the description, but I'm very bad at it. I'll probably try to go back around once I'm editing and all that and put it in there. If not, I'm sorry. I'm actually going to make a note and, you know, stick it to my little desk just so I can remember to actually post the links in there. I'm very bad at doing that. People are always asking me for that. But as always, you guys can look these up. There's some great value out there from AliExpress. They actually have some new Star Wars figures. I'll probably, you know, jump back around and do a video for that. If you guys are interested, let me know down below in the comment section. Would you guys like to see a video for some knockoff Black Series action figures from AliExpress? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. As always, if you guys enjoy this type of rambling content, make sure to stay tuned. We're actually doing this on a daily basis. It's absolutely fatiguing to do it, but it's so much fun. I love putting these videos together for you guys. I thoroughly enjoy it. So again, if you guys enjoy this type of stuff, just stick around. You know what I mean? Just subscribe, stick around to the channel, and you guys will definitely be entertained for sure. So thank you guys for tuning in. Stay safe out there. Definitely make sure to enjoy the hobby. That's the most important part of all this. Pose your action figures, photograph them, play with them. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you.